Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be opening a pretty sick pack pull from our Icon SBC. So if you guys just want to check that out, be sure to check out the end of the video. But if you guys want to watch the entire video, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys do enjoy it. So we're going to get started with some FIFA forum discussions that people normally talk about in general, and I'll be giving my 2 cents as I normally do in the podcast style of the video, so I hope you guys enjoy the video today. So the first comment for the FIFA forums is whether or not if icons have ruined FIFA or not. I don't think that icons has completely ruined FIFA. So I'm of the opinion that I think that the inclusion of FUT Champs is what completely destroyed FIFA for me, right? The inclusion of FUT Champs it just wasn't a good inclusion to the game in general, because this game was really based off of just fun and just trying out different teams back in the day, and it's not about that anymore, because people are playing Division 1 in preparation for FUT Champs, so they normally use their regular teams, and it's just not as exciting to play anymore. So in my opinion, I don't think icons ruin the game. I think that it's really cool that icons in the game. There's a lot of really sick ones, like Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Thierry Henry. They're really cool cards, right? But obviously in the competitive sense, it's not necessarily ideal to come up with these guys. But the thing is that they're the only types of players that you come up against nowadays. You don't really come up against different types of players that much anymore. How hard is the Weekend League? The Weekend League is skill-wise, it's so if you go like 20-2 or 22-2, even in the beginning, it gets a little bit more difficult. So right now, right, the Weekend League in general is more difficult than it is when the game initially comes out, because when the game initially comes out, there's more people playing the game, there's more people trying to qualify for the Weekend League. But the people who have stuck by the game nowadays, like even if I play Weekend League on the PlayStation or the Xbox, I always find the exact same people. When I play the game in the beginning of the year, it's usually not like that, right? So nowadays, if you play FIFA, you're usually, after at least the 10 games, like let's just say you go 10-0 or 8-2, you're most likely going to start coming up against people who are the hardcore fan base of FIFA. So it's most likely going to be harder than what it was before. So it's weird when people give less credit for someone that actually gets 40 wins nowadays, because it's actually harder to get 40 wins now than it was before. But then it's kind of like a hand-in-hand thing, because it's also a thing where in the beginning of the game, you're trying to get used to the gameplay aspect of the game. So you're not really familiar with how things kind of go, but then after a while, once people kind of understand the game mechanics and stuff, and they exploit certain aspects, that's when it's a little bit of a different game, right? Because there's certain mechanics in FIFA where it's like the driven pass from the midfield to the strikers, and they control it first time, and you just shoot it right away. That's really overpowered, right? And it's hard to say whether or not that's a really skilled goal, because it's just the way that everything kind of works in the build-up of that goal. It's sometimes it's by chance, right? Because when you do a driven pass, sometimes the defenders don't register to intercept or to do anything at all when that driven pass comes in. So, yeah. Is Deco 85 a good card? I don't think Deco really has any good cards in general. So I'm going to go search up his card right now. And I keep searching it up on Foothead, which isn't the best idea for me to do. I'm going to go ahead and search up the SPCs here. So if I search up Deco's card in general, his prime version of his card has only 83 pace, excuse me, with 79 shooting. So the 79 shooting can present to be a problem because he has 75 finishing. So that alone makes the card not really worth picking up. It's not even, I wouldn't even pick up the card in the fun concept either, because there's players who are faster with better dribbling and better acceleration and sprint speed than Deco. Deco is a 90 rated just bad card in general, right? He even has a 3-star weak foot. So in FIFA, like the thing is that like I understand when they try to make these cards similar to what they are in real life, but when they do that, there's mechanics in FIFA that just makes these cards very unusable in my opinion. So I wouldn't necessarily use Deco in my team per se. Should EA make a tournament for casuals similar to FUT Champs? I don't think that they need to make a game mode similar to FUT Champs. I think that FUT Champs needs a complete overhaul in terms of how it kind of works. Like the 40 games concept is a little bit, I think, just tiring for people. I think people get exhausted of the game really quickly because they push all their mentality on the 40 games on the weekends, and then people don't really want to play on the weekdays because they just want to play those games on the weekends. So It's a very interesting like balance between everything, right? I don't think that they need to make it casual tournament for casuals. I just think that they need to make better game modes for everybody to enjoy. Perfect example is if they make the World Cup game mode come out and it's similar to the FIFA 14 version of the World Cup game mode, then they have something really good working for them there. Do you think that pack weight has gotten worse? Pack weight in FIFA, I think for drafts in general, they definitely changed the rewards to be worse than they already were before. So the rewards were already pretty bad before, but the rewards after, I would say, when they released their SBCs or just before the SBCs, has gotten worse. You actually get the rare golds pack more often than not nowadays. Like I can't tell you how many times we've won the draft and we've gotten the rare gold pack and the just regular gold packs just from winning the draft. It's funny because the draft that I lost is where I got my icon in a pack from the draft that I lost. But the rewards that I get for winning the finals are very, very bad. Because the thing that people need to understand is that, like, with the amount of money spent that I've spent on playing the drafts and trying to make profit back, I 100% am in the negative from the amount of time that I spent. So did we pack an icon from the draft? We did, but we're still 100% in the negative because if I play 10 drafts after that and I'm in the negative every single time, then it was a waste of time. That Larson didn't make a difference to me because the time spent playing and building the draft in those 10 drafts that I did, because that's 40 games, right? If you win all of them in a row, it's not worth the time spent, right? Because I might as well... I don't like doing it. I don't feel like anyone should feel the need to have to do this, but I don't like going on the market and have to trade. If I invest, like if I buy cards and I keep them in the club and then I invest and I think that they're going to sell for more in the future, sure, I would definitely consider doing that, but I would never be able to do like the streams that exist nowadays where people are just kind of like chill and do the SBCs, and so I can't really do that. Like I'm all about the gameplay. Like I need to get into a game and play. For me to enjoy playing video games in general. Like if I'm playing Fortnite, right, I don't want to be in the lobbies more than I actually want to be playing the game, right? So if I play a really long game of Fortnite and I come out on top with like 15 games and I come first place or whatever, then yeah, I'll chill for a little bit because it was like it was pretty hectic. You know, I gotta calm down a bit, right? But in FIFA, staying in the menus is cool because I like that the SBCs that they do nowadays, they're awesome. But it's still like at the end of the day, when it comes to SBCs, most of them, I would say like 85 or 87% of them are not worth doing. Like the SBCs that exist nowadays with the 82s to 85s, the 84s to 87s, those SBCs are not worth doing whatsoever. You might as well just sell the players that you are using towards those SBCs because you're guaranteed more of a profit than actually doing any of those SBCs. So I would say it was a waste. I wasted 1 million coins, I would say, around that reign to actually do the SBCs for the icon SBCs. And it's good for the YouTube channel because it's cool for people to check out a cool pack pull by the end of the video and also watch the video generally speaking. But yeah, it's not really worth doing the draft in general, man. The rewards are not good enough for you to want to continue playing it. It's very, very underwhelming when you win a draft and you don't even go 1K above the profit of the 15. So like if you don't make 16K back at least from the consumables and everything in the pack, it's very, very underwhelming. It makes you feel like crap. FIFA is not the type of game where when you score goals you feel good, or if you win you feel good. It doesn't feel like that type of game anymore because the way that the game mechanics work, everything's very linear, right? And everything is very inconsistent. Like when you're doing something in FIFA, because of the inconsistencies with game mechanics, it doesn't make you feel like, wow, that felt amazing. Like when I get a kill on Fortnite or I outbuild someone on Fortnite, I feel amazing for every kill, every battle that I outbuild someone. It's just preferable to play that way. 88's Kante or FUT Birthday Sissoko. So right off the bat, I would say Kante for sure, and the reason being is because if you're going to be using someone in the CDM role, I would prefer personally to have someone who's actually really good defensively, right? And that's what Kante has. He moves left and right very smoothly, but his height can present to be a problem at times. If you try out the Sissoko card, he's a little bit more attacking oriented, but he still has very decent defensive stats, and he's also medium work rate. So if you want someone that actually is decent at attacking or pushing up and also defending for you at a decent rate, he'll be decent to use. And I'm sorry I keep using decent, but that's like the bare minimum of what he'd be like. If you give him a shadow card, his defensive stats will be improved by a little bit. So he would definitely be a fun card to use. And there was a guy that was making a comment saying I keep using fun card to use and it's annoying, and I don't know. La Liga and A-League SBCs. So this is an interesting one, right? The Griezmann SBC that came out. Do I think it's worth doing? I'm not sure what the price of doing it all is, but for me personally, I can't remember what the stats of that card actually was. Was it a 91? I'm going to go ahead and check that. By the way, guys, I do apologize for the noise in the background. Stuff is just being done, so I do apologize for that. In FIFA, so on FIFA he has a 92 rated SBC, so that's not even on Footbin as of right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and go on Foothead to see his stats. I don't think anybody actually has ever used the card yet, or I don't know if these websites have even put them in their database yet. Foothead has. Yeah, so Griezmann has a 92 rated version of his card, but he's a pretty consistent player. Like, this is an untradeable version of his card, so if you want to get the card and have fun with him, he'll be really good, because 91 acceleration with 90 sprint speed, 94 finishing with 90 composure with 86 shot power would definitely be very nice to have in your team for sure. He's a left-footed player too, so you can actually take long shots with him on the left side. Driven shots he'd be very good at too. Right now on my PlayStation account, my normal PlayStation account, I have his rare gold card, and you can definitely notice that the extra acceleration, sprint speed, composure, and stuff would definitely help out a little bit. The rare gold one has 90 agility and 80 balance, and then the 92 version of his card has 84 balance and 95 agility. So not a huge difference there, but you will notice it a little bit, because I feel like the jump from 80 to 84 would warrant a difference on the card for sure. It's actually interesting because it's a +4 stat upgrade, but the stat upgrades from the rare gold to this SBC are very low for the most part, because it's only like a +6, +4, but that's like a 4+ rating, so it's surprising that it's only by that much, because if you actually go to Griezmann's 80 card and then you go to his 89 card, some of the stats are only improved by 1, and the 1 you would definitely not notice it at all. You wouldn't notice the difference at all. Would it be there? Maybe, but would you notice a difference? I would say not so much. Why no Mbappe in the team of the week or the man of the match? I don't know. That's actually a good question. I don't know if they actually came out with a man of the match for the cup games that recently happened, because people are wondering why he didn't get a card for the game that he had against Monaco in the French Cup final. I kind of agree with that, because he did actually play really well in that game, so it would have been nice if they actually gave him a card. I don't see what the problem would have been towards giving Mbappe a card, because team of the season is fast approaching. His highest version of his card is 86, so I think if they gave him a man of the match card, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing for them to do. He would still play quite decently in the game, so I don't really understand why they wouldn't really add them. So I can kind of agree with that for sure. Do I think that 84 Sun striker card is any good? Sun striker card. The good thing about this card, right, is that you can put him in a center mid role if you really want to, right? Because strikers, center mids, cam, center forward. So you can put him in any role in those positions, and he may or may not be very decent. So with this card, in comparison to his 83 version of his card, has his 83 version, that's a left mid card, and his 87 version, if you can get both of them on full chemistry, you will not notice a significant difference between the two, because in terms of dribbling, his stats are only increased by 1. His acceleration and sprint speed is increased by 2, so very insignificant increase as well in that department. But if you get the 84 version of the card, and you actually put a chemistry style on him, it's more about the position change and the chemistry style that you can put on him than it is about anything else, right? So because his acceleration and sprint speed is already 89 and 88, if you want to make his dribbling better and his finishing better, giving him a sniper wouldn't be a bad idea. Because his shooting stats are already quite decent, you can also give him a stat boost in the pace, dribbling, and passing department, which would be, I believe it is the engine card, but I wouldn't recommend using engine for this card, because with the finishing being very inconsistent in FIFA, it would definitely be better to put a chemistry style that actually improves the shooting on the card. Because if you don't improve the shooting on the card, the shooting will be even more inconsistent than it already is. So, yeah. Packed Laudrup from the base icon SBC. Is that good or bad? I don't know what Laudrup's card's actually like, so I'm going to go search him up right now. So center forward card is an 85 with 87 pace, 74 shooting. So 74 shooting by itself is very off-putting for the card, but medium work rates while also being 4-star, 4-star with no physical presence at all, but he is 6 foot, and I know that EA gives the players, or the icons in general, more of a stockish build in the game, so... I mean, if you got this card, it's not bad, dude, because there are cards that you could have gotten that could have been significantly worse. But if you do use this card, I highly recommend that you put Hunter on him because his finishing stats are very low in 74 and his shooting power is 74 as well. So giving him a Hunter card would definitely help out a bit in that situation for sure. Let's see what else we got here. Do I think that Ronaldo is the best player in the game? Yes. I haven't used the R9 version of the card. I only used him one game, and honestly, like, he felt really good in comparison to like any other player, to be honest, like Gabriel Jesus, Martial, any of those guys, right? So R9 is really good, but CR7, I would rather choose a rare gold CR7 than a prime version of Ronaldinho's card. And that's just personal preference, obviously. If I needed a cam card, I would obviously choose Ronaldinho. If I needed a striker, I would choose Ronaldo. Because Ronaldo's card is so game-changing that, like, even for me, I think that he's better than Thierry Henry. I think Thierry Henry is a good player in the game. I just don't think that he significantly improves your gameplay like someone like Ronaldo does for your team. I just think that Ronaldo makes a huge difference in your club. Let's see what else we got here. Is the dragback OP? No, the dragback isn't... Well, I can't say no because it really depends on the gameplay that you're playing in. So let's just say, for instance, if your gameplay is very slow and sluggish and you can notice sliding with defenders, so basically if you're using your left stick and you're aiming to the left but he keeps going to the right and then goes to the left, then yes, the dragback is going to be very overpowered because you won't be able to defend against it properly. Your players will continue sliding upwards even if you want to go downwards. But if the gameplay feels very smooth and responsive, it's not necessarily that overpowered, but it's still very effective. It's more of an effective move than an overpowered move. Overpowered move was more like the angled body feint, I believe, of last year or 2 years ago. The reason why the angled body feint was so overpowered was because you actually could not defend against it, right? So if you got inside the 18-yard box and you did an angled body feint where you were facing upwards, but then you wanted to push the ball downwards, a player could actually not defend against it unless the game actually wanted you to. So you can generally, in those games, you can move in that general area and press B, but there was something wrong with your defenders when someone did an angled body feint that they just didn't really react really well to someone actually doing the skill move, right? So definitely something that people should look into for sure. Is Delete a yes or no? Firmino or Immobile? Firmino or Immobile? And is Delete a GG's? Delete is he has a pretty decent card, actually. So if you actually look at his card, 80 pace, 87 defending, 88 physical. But you need to look at the specifics, right? So his dribbling, right, is 51 balance and 69 agility. So that's a huge downfall of the card, right? But this card will still play quite decently for you in the game because his defending stats are quite high and so are his physical stats. So definitely worth trying out in your team. You will 100% notice the agility and balance, but it's definitely worth trying out. Now, in regards to Firmino and Immobile, Roberto Firmino's striker card, I personally enjoyed using it. You know, he felt nice. He felt decent on the ball because he does have 83 acceleration, 83 sprint speed with 87 agility and 86 balance. He has good finishing stats with 90 finishing and 83 composure with decent shot power and 85. His passing itself is actually quite nice too with 90 short passing and 81 long passing with 81 strength while being 5'11". Definitely a card that might be getting slept on by people. So if you're playing with the card for fun, this card's amazing to use. But if it's like meta and you're coming against the Ruud Hullits, the Ronaldos and stuff, he's not ideal to use because in comparison to those cards, he won't do much for you because he's lacking in the pace. We're just talking about like the specifics of the game. So the pace will definitely affect the way of your opinion towards this card and whether or not you will like it for full meta. But in general, like just generally speaking, he's really, really fun to use. I actually use him on my PlayStation account as a quote-unquote cheap version of the card, and he played really well for me, man. I did enjoy using him for sure. Is CR7 really all that? Yes, we just answered that earlier. He's a fantastic card to use in this game for sure. Broken gameplay that I cannot fix on Xbox One. I'm actually gonna look into this. Oh well, I don't want to get into this gameplay thing because you know you guys know how I feel about it already. How do you play Weekend League? So for me personally, when I play Weekend League, I have this mentality of having to go full meta, and the reason why is because as a content creator, it's really hard for you to just try out different teams because, you know, if people like stream snipe you or if they find you in the game, they try their utmost best to beat you. And if they're stream sniping you, they usually... It's very, very few times that I've met a stream sniper playing FUT Champs when I used to play it that didn't have a God squad. And it was really annoying to me when people did that because of the difference between the two squads. Like, fair play if you're stream sniping me and I have a similar team, like, okay, we'll have a solid game together. But it's when people had, like, a team that was significantly better than mine that just... it threw me off a little bit in the fun concept, right? So, because this game is very, very team-oriented if both players have very similar skill to each other. Like, if I have a solid midfield and a solid defense, but I don't have a solid striking lineup, like let's just say, for instance, I'm facing a pro player and I'm using a regular Neymar, a Gabriel Jesus, and a Martial on the team, but they have like Thierry Henry, Ronaldo, and Ronaldinho. The difference is uncanny. You just can't do anything attacking-wise against these players that have these teams. So the thing about FIFA with competitive is that it's very, as much as people don't want to admit it, it's very, very team-oriented when you get to a certain skill, right? Like if you're of similar skill level, and even not even similar, if you're a better player, but someone is a little bit worse than you, that person who's a little bit worse that has a better team can still do better than you because of how overpowered the defensive AI is in the game. Like they can honestly drop their controllers, and if they have a really good God squad in the back four in the midfield, they will honestly just defend for them. They'll just control that CDM and second man press, and it's just really annoying, right? What else we got here? Do you think that they should remove consumables like contracts and fitness? I do think that they should remove it, but I mean, will they remove it? Probably not, because I think the reason why they keep it in the game is because it's their excuse of kind of like, hey, you know, we can put extra consumables in the packs, right? And we don't necessarily have to give them a set amount of players in like a mega packs and all that stuff. So we'll just keep the contracts and fitness just to put extra stuff in these packs so that these guys don't get like at least like decent cards in general. So I don't think they would ever take them out. Do I think that Inform Check is a good goalkeeper? Inform Check, my opinion with goalkeepers will always be the same. I will always think that it is only worth getting a goalkeeper that's higher in price is only if you're getting a De Gea card, because De Gea is just significantly better than everybody else in this game, and it really, really shows because of that leg save trait, right? Will Lacazette get an Inform? For his recent performance in the Europa League, I don't think so, because they don't really have the license for the European licenses in general, like the Champions League or the Europa League. If they had the license, then maybe they would have gotten an Inform. However, they may give him a Man of the Match card, because they do give Man of the Match cards for the group stages of the Champions League, which goes to show that they can do more stuff regarding the Champions League, but not actually make it about the Champions League. Does that make sense? Like I always told people that this idea in FIFA would be so great, right? For me personally, I would love if they completely remove FUT Champs. It would be beautiful. But as a separate game mode, I feel like it would be brilliant if they added the World Cup game mode every single year. But instead of it being based off of the World Cup, it would be based off of teams from the Champions League, right? So they wouldn't have to call the Champions League Cup, because they can work around it. It's whether they choose to do it or not, that's completely up to them. But it would be really cool that if they made a similar mode like the World Cup game mode, and they called it something like the Team of the Group Stage Cup, and then just made it exactly the same way as it was in FIFA 14, where you collect a player every single game you play. If you win the World Cup or the Champions League or the Team of the Group Stage Cup, you get 15k or 30k and Team of the Group Stage Cup packs or World Cup packs, whatever you want to call them. and just have fun that way, right? This game should 100% be revolved more of the fun aspect more than anything else, in my honest opinion. So yeah, that's what I would say to that. So in regards to the icon player, we are going to pull that up right now. For those of you who have watched the entire video, thank you guys so much for watching the video today. If you guys could drop a thumbs up on the video, I would really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys for the next video. Enjoy the pack opening. Peace. Do you think Ronaldo would choose to win a league title or the Ballon d'Or? Well, I think Ballon d'Or. Yeah, I think Ballon d'Or. Not saying that he's selfish, it's just that like the way that the world thinks that what makes a good player is winning a Ballon d'Or is what makes a good player a good player. Like, I think Ronaldinho won it one time or once or twice, I can't remember, but I still consider him the best player of all time. I get so annoyed when I like overskip it. You know what I'm saying, chat? Like, I would still consider Ronaldinho best player. Mascherano and Messi can carry Argentina. Without them, fuck knows what they would be. Argentina has a lot of attacking talent though, man. If Messi were to leave, like, they still have an inform. The one and only, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only. That's pretty saucy, man. I like that. That's pretty saucy. I mean, dude, like, come on, chat. You know what has to happen. The GOAT?